Greetings and salutations. Do you come here often? My name is Rob. I'm with PreCodeCamp, and we're working on freeCodeCamp's design a greeting card. And I am coming at this from an instructor point of view, and we're going to go step by step. And we did go all the way up to number 10 in the previous video. And in this video, we're going to break it up. Again, we're going to go from 11 to step number 20. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive into it. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure that you ask them down below. And of course, please subscribe to our videos, okay? That really helps that YouTube algorithm. It costs nothing, and it's a real quick second to just hit those buttons. All right, let's go ahead and dive into where we were before. All right, as always, everything is chaptered out down below as far as what step we are on. And in this case here, we're on step number 11. If you're looking for anything lower than 11, that happens to be in another video. Link will be in the description as well. So it says step number 11. We want to go ahead and fill in the second section. It says that we need to have an H2 element on here. And let's go ahead and do that. Again, I'm always going to do open and closing tags right off the bat. And then I'm going to fill it in with the information that it needs. And it says that it wants this with sharing your card dot. So let me go ahead and put that on there, and we can see it over here on the right side of the screen. Okay, so we have the sharing your card. Next on there, it says we want a paragraph tag, and that is going to be right below the RH2. So we're going to go ahead and do open and closing tags on it. And then inside here, we're going to put in here, your card was shared on social media. Okay, perfect. So now we have those two items on there. Let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. There's the confetti. We're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, step number 12. It says add a new selector that changes the background color of the card to the color of khaki whenever it is hovered over. Okay. And so this is our first opportunity of adding a pseudo class on here, and it's going to be of the type hover. So this is how we're going to do it. First, you need to identify the class. And so the class is card. Okay. Next is a colon, and then we're going to type the word hover. And this item here, whatever we put in between the curly brackets on here, is going to affect the class when we hover over it. Okay. So it says it wants the background color. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here, and it wants it to be khaki. Okay. So it gives that nice yellow. Let's go ahead and see, and we can test this out by hovering our mouse over our happy birthday card that we just got done doing. So let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. Congratulations. Let's move on to the next step. Step number 13 in freeCodeCamp's design a greeting card. It tells us that we can use the transform property, and it will transform the way that this element looks. By giving it a value and attacking the scale aspect, this will be 10% smaller. So on this one here, go ahead and add a transform property inside of our card hover pseudo class that we just got done doing. And we want to change the scale to 1.1. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this here and put this in here. So we can put the keyword transform, and that's going to attack the transform. In this case here, we're adding a scale. The 1.1 is bigger, so we should see it get bigger is the point of this one. So now when we hover over this, we can now see that it's like zooming in towards us, right? It got a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. Congratulations. We're moving on to the next step here. Okay, we're on step number 14 here, where it is describing that, hey, when we have an anchor element and it's hovered, the color background makes a transition to a different color. And that color transition is almost very similar to what we see right here, which is a very quick snap from white to yellow. That's the transition. And it's telling us here that we can do different things to our transition property to make things look a little nicer. And if we want to combine transition effects, we can add comma separating properties based upon what we're actually trying to do. And so one of the things that I would like to maybe just take a look at, and you can Google this, which is transitions CSS W3 schools, and you'll be taken to this right here. And we can see based upon timing, what do we have available to us? And it says that ease here is by default, and linear, which is what they're wanting us to do in our case, it specifies a transition effect that will be the same speed from start to end. And we do have the ability to try some of these out. And I did modify the code here because I did want to demonstrate here to you. We have a 1, 2 right here, div 1, div 2, and that represents these colored squares that you see on here. And I'm going to hover over the red, and the red one happens to be a transition that is linear, and then the other one is ease by default. I just put that in there so you can know for a fact that it is ease, because that is by default. If I were to omit this, it would use ease. But just to show you a real quick timing difference and what that looks like, you can see that the red one loses the race here by it being linear, the same speed throughout, while the ease, it will ramp up at the beginning and then it will go ahead and slow down towards the end. So that is what the ease kind of does. But I just wanted to demonstrate that there to you. Let's go back to what our task is. And it says, add the following code on here, which is we're going to go to the card section, and on the original card property, not the pseudo element that we just did, but rather we want to go ahead and add the word transition, and we're going to put that colon in there. No, you can't see it here. So we're going to do that transition colon. And then, matter of fact, I'm just going to grab this entire thing here and put this on here. And then don't forget the semicolon at the end. And so now we can see that it is easing in there as far as that goes. Okay. So let's go ahead and check our code, see if that worked. We got the congratulations, and we're ready to move on to the next step here. Okay, step number 15. It says that we can add that pseudo element of the colon before and do it on the H1. So it says on here that if we go ahead and target the H1 and we also put in here the colon before and then the curly brackets, we can add something here called the content property, and we can assign it the emoji here. And then let's go ahead and put a semicolon there. And you can see that it added the emoji right up here. Now, I'll tell you that the before pseudo class is really good for maybe adding some content or maybe an image before you have something on there. So it's a real quick way to add that. Maybe you're trying to do green check marks on a list. You may have a green check mark emoji or a green check mark image that you would like to have it be applied to each one of the list items. So that would be like a use case of utilizing the before. We also have a video out there if you are looking into some hover effects for creating a navigational bar. I know we use this on the PreCodeCamp website, and if you visit there, you'll want to take a look at the navigation bar that we have up here, because that is utilizing the before also. So we do have a video going over how to create this navigational bar. If you are interested, take a look at our YouTube channel for that. But back to freeCodeCamp here, it does look like that should satisfy. The thing that it also references on here, please note that there is a space after the emoji, and that's why I copied the emoji. All right, let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. Congratulations. We're moving on to the next section. Step number 16, we can do the same thing by attacking the pseudo class of after. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and the only thing that needs to change here is a space and then the word after. So let's do after. And then notice that the space on here, and now we have the happy birthday with 2 emojis and 2 on both left and right side here for the before and the after. All right, let's go ahead and check our code, and we got the congratulations. We're ready to move on. Step number 17 says, let's go ahead and target the message class and give it the following properties. So I'm just going to do .message. And then inside here, we're going to do the font size. That's going to be 1.2 em. The color, that will be gray. And the margin bottom, that will be 20 pixels. Okay, let's go ahead and check our code. There we go. Congratulations. We're moving on to the next step. So step number 18 in designing a greeting card, we're going to go ahead and add the class here of card links. And inside there, we want to have a margin top of 20 pixels. And then it says that we can add a display flex. And I don't know with going through the FreeCodeCamp if flex was even talked about or what it does. But let's go ahead and put in the display flex. And then it says on here that because we have display flex put on here, we can utilize something on here with the justify content, and then we're going to do space around. Now there's several different Flexbox things that we can do for the justify content. This one is going to basically take the available space that we have and separate those two links to make it look really nice. And you can see that's what it ended up doing here. I'll comment this out and then we'll comment it back in. And it just makes it a little more eye-pleasing by separating these two different elements that are on here, which is the send card and the share in social media. So that way they're separate. Okay, let's go ahead and check our code. We got the congratulations and we're moving on to the next step. Okay, step number 19. A lot of steps in here. Probably gonna need a break after this one. It says that the anchor elements inside the card links, give them the following. And so the way that we're going to do this, because it's very specific, it says inside the card links only. And we want to target the anchor tags. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that for this selector. So this one might have caused a few folks some trouble. We may not remember this from previous lessons. Next on here, it says it wants the text decoration. We're going to set that to none. So let me go ahead and do that. Next, it says the font size. Let's go ahead and change that to 1M. Okay. Now, I did want to bring up that the text decoration to none, that removed the underline part on there, if you didn't catch that. Next, it says padding needs to be 10 on the top and bottom and 20 on the left and right. Okay, so we got the padding on there. Next is going to be the border radius. Let's set that to 5 pixels. Next, the text color is going to be white, and then we're going to give it a background color to midnight blue. And this is what's going to make it look like a button here. All right, and there we go. We just turned our links into buttons. And I'm pretty sure in the next couple steps, we're going to make them behave like buttons when we hover over them by making a different color and so on. All right, let's go ahead and check our code here. There we go. Congratulations. Let's move on to the next step. All right, step number 20 in designing a greeting card for FreeCodeCamp. It tells us that let's go ahead and create a pseudo class selector that targets the card links anchor tag. And then we want to change the background color to orange red when it is real quick and easy one. We're going to go ahead and paste that there. But then we want to do the special pseudo class on here, which is the hover. Then we can go ahead and have the background color be orange red. All right, let's go ahead and test this out. If we hover over the anchor tag, which looks like a button, it is now behaving like one, which is really cool. All right, let's go ahead and check our code. Congratulations. We are going on to the next one, but it's going to be in a different video because we were at our 20 here. So hopefully these last couple steps aren't too bad. I am enjoying this one a little bit more, that it is a little more styling. We're getting into some pseudo classes we talked a little bit about before and after pseudo classes. So anyways, make sure that you like the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel because you're going to have to in order to get the next one because you want to be notified of that, right? Okay, so we'll see you in the next video.